If you have watched the previous 7 videos, you have a little bit of a concept about who I am and where I come from, and what this whole scheme of trying to find my family is all about. Kind of crazy. When I was doing my family genealogy and trying to put together a route, from what I could tell, my great-great-grandfather, James Sexton, he brought his family from where they were in Vienna, Illinois, Johnson County. Actually, the records say Johnson County, Illinois, but I'm taking it for granted that Vienna was where they lived, because Vienna, Illinois is the county seat for Johnson County, Illinois. So that was his first, or his last stop before he moved everybody into Abilene, Kansas. And I thought I read a record somewhere where, well, he came first, and then he sent for his family afterwards, and they made it as far as they could by train, but then they had to walk the rest of the distance because the train was not coming into Abilene as of yet that time. I just read that somewhere. I don't know how accurate it is. It makes for an interesting story because he had a rather large family, as families did back in those days. Well, I thought, since Vienna was the county seat of Johnson County, Illinois, they ought to have plenty of records. So that was my first stop after Paola and Lowry City. I did make an overnight stop in, there was someplace in Missouri on the way that it was getting dark, so I thought, I might as well stop. I can't, Poplar Bluff, I think that's the name that rings in my head. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but it was on the way, so I stopped. So this is a little chronicle of my going into Vienna. I am traveling down Highway 45 on my way to Vienna, Illinois, and I thought I don't know if you call those mountains, probably not, but just a heavily forested area straight ahead. I thought, well, this is so picturesque, and I'm going to stop here for a moment. Where I am right now is a historical landmark just on the road of Highway 45 leading into Vienna, Illinois. First time I saw it when I passed by, I couldn't find where the place was. It has a marker out there on the road saying historical marker, and I was look, and I'm like, where is it? And then when I came back on my way to Metropolis, I saw that it's just right here. It's a, let's see if I can read about George Rogers Clark campsite back during the Revolutionary War. Very interesting story. Lieutenant Colonel George Rogers Clark and his troop of 170 volunteers, principally Virginians, camped near the site called Indian Point on June 30th, 1778. They were marching from Fort Massac to attack the British post at Kaskaskia. This was the first of 5 campsites on that march. Clark's men would take the post at Kaskaskia and later the British fort at Vincennes, Indiana. This work helped secure the Illinois Territory for the United States during the Revolutionary War. It's hard to say, well, I've never heard of the name George Rogers Clark, because, I mean, every one of those names you hear of, but together, I don't know. But this is a very picturesque area, and lots of, very, very green. When I look at this land, even in these pictures, and I think that this is the land that my ancestors saw when they came into Johnson County, it's like, and then to think, maybe they might have farmed this very land I was looking at. It's an overwhelming thought to consider. Still on Highway 45, heading into Vienna about, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles out. And just a very interesting entrance, trees on both sides, just kind of covering the road almost. Hilly, but not mountainous. And if I remember correctly, when I came into town yesterday, there was on these hills on the side. I don't think my camera's picking that up very well, but a lot of nice houses built in that area. And so anyway, it's very, very pleasant to look at, I think. Getting a little closer now to Vienna, and I think you can see some of the homes that are built on the side of the road. Okay, they're not extravagant, but they look like they'd be very nice places to live. Very enjoyable environment, and with a very nice highway on the outside. You know, it's funny when you travel through areas like this, you kind of wonder, or at least I wonder, you know, with all the trees that are here, it makes you wonder, excuse me, what it took for them to clear out all this land to make this road, and then also why did they choose this particular spot? You know, why did the road come this way? You know, just a bit of curiosity on my part. Okay, I think I'm coming up on the Vienna sign soon. It's off to the right. I'm getting very close to the town itself, and I thought I would get out and take a picture of me in front of the sign if there is a place I can do so. There we go, right there. Welcome to Vienna. And well, as can be seen, I am in Vienna, Illinois, and today I hope to find out more information. Hopefully see if I can find where my ancestors had their land, you know, if they had land or what. They were only here from 1859 to 1866, but you'd think back then they'd have to have some personal land of their own, but, you know, who knows. The street that led onto the highway, where I parked my car to get out and take a picture in front of the sign, had this house in the background, and on the house there was a sign on it that said, trespassers will be shot and survivors will be shot again. Now, I realize it was obviously done in jest, but I'm like, I'm not sticking around any longer than I have to. Well, I made it here to Vienna. Right behind me is the library, and I thought that might be the best place to start of anywhere to find out where I need to begin. And this is a little bit of, I guess, the town square in the background. Library right back there, and very interesting place. I look forward to seeing what I can find out. Well, I'm sitting outside the courthouse here in Vienna, Illinois. It is noontime. Everyone is broken for lunch, and the library, which is just right across the street here, which I plan on visiting next, it doesn't open until 1, so I'll tell you a little bit about what I've found so far. The records office is not in the courthouse back here. They have another separate building down this street, over on in this direction. I started looking through the death records. Now, that might have been a mistake because I doubt if many sextons died here in Vienna. It just seemed kind of like a stopping point. I did find 2 sextons, a Lily sexton and a Noah sexton. I haven't plugged them into my tree yet, so I don't know exactly where they fit in, but you have to think, if all of my ancestors stopped through here, Johnson County, they got to fit in somewhere. So whatever I find at the library, I hope I get some more direction, maybe a genealogy society. I don't know if I need to visit a cemetery because I doubt if anyone is there, but I might. I thought I should also add that along with the 2 sexton names I found, I did find 6 or 7 Holt names. Now, Holt is interesting because my great-grandfather, James Taylor Sexton, he married an Emma Holt, who was his second wife, and she was born here in Vienna, somewhere. And also, his first child, Myrtle May Sexton, by a different, by his first wife, she married a William Wiley Holt. Now, I can't be certain on this, but I think that William Wiley Holt and Emma Ann Holt were like cousins. That's my guess. There you have it. That's a little bit of my first day in Vienna. I initially walked into the county courthouse, and if you'll notice, I made a mistake at first, thinking that the county courthouse was the library. I had seen a sign saying "Turn here for the library," and there was the county courthouse. The library is actually on the other side of the county courthouse, and I learned that eventually. But I go into it. It's odd. I mean, Vienna is not a big town, but I walk into the county courthouse, and they have metal detectors and security guard at the door. And I'm like, this is interesting. I didn't have to go any further in because he told me that the records were kept in the other building on the other road on the street, and that's where I spent my morning there in Vienna. They broke for lunch there, so and it was embarrassing because the lady had to come in and tell me that they were leaving for lunch. I was not expecting that. And it's interesting, the people I encountered, they were, I don't want to say anything disparaging about them, but they were helpful, but they were not helpful, if you get my drift. They were nice, but they were not nice. It's an odd thing to describe. Nobody was rude. Nobody refused to answer my question. But you get the sense. There was a sense, and I don't know if it's because I wasn't from there, but it was odd. Another thing that kind of perplexed me was they did not have any birth records prior to 1878, which was a problem for me because the people I was looking for who were born in Johnson County, Illinois, they were born prior to 1878. Like my great-grandmother, Emma Holt Sexton, born in Johnson County in 1860. How do I find records for that? I did find the marriage record for my great-grandfather, James Taylor Sexton, to his first wife, and I found some interesting things that were worth the trip, but that there is a piece of my first day in Vienna.